In this video, we're going to be talking about what law enforcement officers are looking for to determine whether or not you are driving impaired. We're going to talk about, first, we're going to talk about what law enforcement is going to be looking for before they pull you over. We're going to have a second video which will talk about the things law enforcement officers are looking for after they've actually made the stop and made contact with you. One of the first things law enforcement officers look for is where you're coming from. Law enforcement officers often hang out in and around the areas where local drinking establishments are. If your town has an area where there are a number of bars, you can probably suspect that law enforcement is going to either stake out that area or make routine passes by that area to be looking on the lookout for people who are driving while intoxicated. If the option is available to you, I suggest you park a distance away from wherever you've been drinking to allow yourself an opportunity to walk to your car and determine whether or not you may be too intoxicated to drive. Remember, it's never a good idea to drive if you're intoxicated. It's always better for you to take a cab. Law enforcement officers are often looking for irregular driving of some kind. Irregular driving can come about in a number of different ways. Speeding, weaving in or outside of your lane, driving too slow, making sudden stops, obviously being involved in an accident, and some things that suggest you may be intoxicated include failing to use your turn signal, failing to turn on your headlights, or making sudden turns or sudden stops where normally it wouldn't be appropriate to do so. Law enforcement also looks for what's going on with the passengers in your vehicle. I've had countless cases where law enforcement is initially attracted to a vehicle because of something a passenger has done. Passengers are often known for yelling things out of a vehicle, throwing things, littering, or making some type of gestures to people or sometimes even law enforcement officers in the area. You can bet that if law enforcement notices that your passengers are likely intoxicated, they're probably going to assume that there's at least a decent chance that you are also intoxicated, and they're going to pursue you to see whether or not you violate any of the rules of the road, which would give them reasonable suspicion to pull your vehicle over and make contact with you to determine whether or not you're driving intoxicated. If you have any questions about these points that we've talked about in this video, please feel free to contact Maurer Law. And stay tuned for our next video where we'll talk about what law enforcement officers are looking for once they've pulled you over.